What's up, Vaughn?
What's up?
Not much, man. So we were here for a new episode. First, quick shout out to Bison Energy Drinks, our show presenter / sponsor. We really appreciate them. What you talking about our discount code, Vaughn?
Well, and most importantly, we're back.
You didn't do it last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay, whatever. Our discount code?
Yeah.
Dale Not Dale for 10% off of every order.
At checkout.
At checkout.
And by the time you're hearing this, our website will be live, fingers crossed. And from there, we'll have some stuff on there. You can click straight from there to go to Bison and check out their products. You need to try these energy drinks. They are delicious.
They are.
And so we got a cool one today. Vaughn had an idea. Again, he's the brains behind this operation. And so we decided we're going to do a Dear Dale, Not Dale.
Yeah.
On
like Dear Abby, she's gives like great advice.
So we're going to give better advice.
We're going to give the greatest advice.
The greatest.
And she's got to be retired by now. She's got to be 90-something years old.
You're played out, Abby.
Yeah, Abby, sorry. It's Dale's show.
It is. So, let's kick to the intro music, man.
All righty. You can't be in a bad mood when you listen to that.
Dude, it's great.
I mean, sometimes I just come in here and I just play it.
We'll have Travis on the episode soon.
We need to.
That buddy of mine, that's his song. So I want to ask him, what was his inspiration? Did he think about us?
I think he probably recorded it after the podcast aired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
It was just a thought. But,
Yeah.
So, man, we're back for a new episode. I think this will be a fun one, man.
It is.
And I opened this up to our... I made a post on our Dale Not Dale Instagram, and then I shared it on my personal Uncle Dale Instagram. So, hey, questions, advice. I put in, it was on my Facebook as well. So I had screenshot Vaughn all day, like anything I got, all the questions.
Yeah.
So got quite a bit of questions. We got a sheet here, about 10, 12 of them that we can go through, answer. I mean, there's some that would be serious. I mean, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And then there'd be some we're going to try to be fools on.
I think we're pretty much answering everyone we got.
Everyone we got, we're answering.
But the hamster one.
I'm going to answer that anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I did put that on there, of course I got a bunch of buddies that are fools from Westlake where I grew up, and they had some interesting questions for them to ask. And so maybe we'll bring it up. We'll see what the time looks like.
Yeah, let's do that.
But yeah, man, so we wanted to have some fun. So this is the Dear Dale Not Dale segment.
It is.
Show.
It is.
Part 1.
Part 1.
Maybe we'll do more.
Maybe we'll do more.
If we get a lot of downloads, we're doing this again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think this is going to be really good too. Because there's some things on here that, we're going to make something funny on every one of them. But there's some of them that are actually really good content to talk about.
I know. There's some, like I screenshot to you, and Vaughn even, he texts me, he's like, dude, I'm excited about this episode.
I am. I really am.
So, I think let's get into it.
Let's do it.
This is episode 14. Dear
Dale Not Dale.
# suck it, Abby.
Oh, poor Abby.
Hey, so the first one actually comes from a guy I know, Dale. His name's Dale's also, but he asked a few things about food, nutrition advice, because I'm a CrossFitter.
And I'm a cross sitter.
Amateur, you are cross. He's a cross leg sitter.
Dude, if you can't do it Indian style,
crisscross applesauce.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot we have to be PC.
Hey, so for years, I've worked out since I got hard into it, like early 20s. Started working out, got big, got on some juice, things like that. Part of it. Did that, and then one thing you don't think about or you take for granted,
right,
is the the saying, you can't outwork a bad diet.
Yeah.
And dude, I was stubborn for years. I was always kind of big, but I was kind of fluffy too. You know, like I was never like, I was like some cut person.
You were plump.
No, I wasn't like I was thick boy, man. I was thick. That boy was thick.
You just had large bones,
dude. I got big.
Yeah, well,
but then I see my pictures. My face was fat. Like I carried my weight in my face. I'm like, oh man. I was like a fat boy.
Yeah,
and I don't like that. I'm very self conscious about that,
dude. I carry my weight in my face too. That's the first thing that gets big, and it makes you look bad.
Yeah, I don't like that. And so fast forward. COVID hit for me. Yeah. COVID hit. And I was like, my buddy, I was working out with Chad at the gym, out of the routine. It was just, I wasn't getting anything out of it. We started working at his house because the gyms were closed. And he's an ex-Marine. So, dude, he had me running, which I hate. And we're working out in the heat every day. Dude, I started like during quarantine, I think I was about 220, 225 then. And I got down to like 208, 205. Man, I really leaned out because the dude had me running, doing things I don't normally do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we did that for the whole 2020. And then January 21, we started CrossFit. And that was kind of a game changer. And I started seeing differences. And not until I got a nutritionist. Friend of ours, Felicia, I know your wife used her. Crystal used her. I mean, they kind of half-ass used her.
Yeah. They paid her.
They paid her.
Yeah.
But I went all in. Like I was like, it was counting macros, and we spoke every week. I sent pictures. I mean, but man, I made a big difference in how I look and my body transformation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you might pay a little money, but you got to find what works for you. Yep. I know you've done different things.
Yep.
You did the keto deal.
Keto, yeah. I'm a big fan of the keto for it's not necessarily for weight, but it helps like my digestion. I feel better. I don't feel lethargic. I mean, it's just, it works for me, and I do it periodically.
Yeah. I never tried it. There's a guy I follow. We're hoping to get him on the podcast, Thomas DeLauer.
Yeah.
Dude's got like 3 million something followers. He's shredded, but he's a big keto guy. He was a bigger guy. He's been keto for like 12 years. I think recently he's made some changes and things and how he's doing stuff. He's got a big YouTube following. But I've been curious about it. You read all kind of different things.
Yeah.
But you got to find what works for you.
Right.
What worked for me was actually eating more. I ate more. Like I got up to like 3,000 calories a day. And that was like with 240 carbs.
Yeah. 200
protein. I mean, it was a lot of food I was consuming. But what you're thinking is eat less to lose weight. But for me, working out and doing CrossFit, I had to eat more to fuel my body. Mm-hmm. And I was losing like a pound and a half, like a week seemed like.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like it just blew my mind because you're like, why didn't I think about this years ago or not be an idiot, you know?
Yeah. And most of it's very simple. Diets are very simple, or anything. You burn more calories than you take in, and you lose weight.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, that, and if you want to bulk up, you eat in surplus. You take in more. So I actually learned a lot. And then since then, I worked with Felicia for probably 6 months or longer. And we both kind of decided, okay, hey, it's time for me to go to the next step. I'm gonna take a break. I took a break. I still I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm eating every day. I don't track it like I should, but I got to get back into that. Or actually, Stephen McBee, that was on the show recently. Dude, that guy got freaking down like 8% body fat, but he's just releasing like some videos on Instagram and things like that about fitness and like about dieting.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like, he's like, man, I'm not a scientist. I'm not whatever. He's a farmer. But it worked. This worked for him. And it's some easy stuff. He's like, if you try to follow a diet or a fad diet or something like that, it's easy to get out of it. So he put together this plan. I mean, dude, I need to send to you. It's like 23 pages. Like this looks like something out of a muscle and fitness magazine. Somebody he's working with helped him out. He's got videos online now. That quick.
So his workout plan
no, it's not. He may put that out later, but this is all about nutrition and things like that. Like he really dumbed it down to where anybody can really read this, and so I'll get with him. I'll get the link and I'll share it because, like I said, man, it's some good stuff. I subscribed to his little newsletter. Got the thing. I need to send it to you to check it out.
I can do I'm down to do like a 60-day McBee challenge.
There you go. Well,
see what happens.
You got to go work on the farm.
Well, obviously.
So that's my food nutrition advice. That's what worked for me. You got to find what works for you. Maybe it's smoking crack. You never know.
I mean, but as long as you are eating healthy,
yes,
you can smoke crack.
Exactly.
I mean, that's my thought.
As long as you're getting your protein in.
Yeah, I think so.
Crack ain't bad.
Yeah. Crack ain't whack. Oh, that was horrible advice.
That was great.
Oh, go Pokes. The next one we had was financial advice in starting a business. So, I guess we're financial advice. So I can tell you from experience, I have really kind of learned from my family where to be from a financial standpoint. Quite honestly, if you look at the stuff people spend money on that they'll never get back, it's going out, it's alcohol, it's stuff that just like
that's me. I'm a consumer.
Yeah.
See, I'm the total opposite, dude. Like we learned the hard way. I didn't have that I didn't learn that.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of grew up. Hey, we had what we needed, but it wasn't like we kind of struggled, dude. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And then so I didn't have that vernacular for how to, your my grandpa was saying, hey, you need to save your money. But what does that mean to me?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm having a good time. I was making money and just spending it. I mean, that's just kind of what I did.
Yep.
And for me and Crystal early on, man, dating and then, not making as much money, but we still want to go out and do things. And I got myself into a lot of credit card debt.
Yeah.
To where it got bad for a little while, man. Like I think we were just married or after we were married. And it got to where I got into a bind where I was Googling stuff like those credit I mean, dude, it was that bad. And so I was doing that. And then I had these collectors calling me, dude. It was like super stressful time that nobody knew about except me and Crystal.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to work out. Like, I guess it's my fault too.
Right.
So I'm like, I feel like no matter what, it's going to work out. Things just kind of happen to, the things work out.
Yeah.
But it was a stressful time. And then one of the big collectors, man, they called me and harassed me about something. And I had a customer of mine from when I worked for the Sprint cell phone days. It was during that days.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lawyer. And I called him. I was like, dude, I'm in a bind, dude. I need some help. This was going on. I don't have money to pay you or whatever. He's like, no, dude, don't worry about that. What do you got? And I told him everything about it. He's like, they can't do that. That's harassment. That's this. So he called him or sent a letter.
Yeah.
Dude, they wiped that all clean.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like what a blessing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that probably did the same thing or going through that we went through even now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't have that. And, there's a lot of stuff you stress about for kids for college and things like that. And man, it's tough, dude. Me and Crystal learned the hard way, or I say I did. And my stubbornness was always like, it's going to work out, which it does. But man, it's stressful.
Right.
It's like it gets tough, like because I didn't have that what you had.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people too, they have this idea of when people say, save your money, that they think, you got to save 20% of your paycheck. In today's world, that's not possible. I mean, most people can't do it when they're settled and in their jobs, maybe, but being 18 to 40, I mean, that's just hard to do.
Well, we got kids sports.
Yeah.
Dude, just alone with like your gas bill, water bill, electricity bill, like, dude, that's all. Like me and Crystal were talking about that. Like, she's like, hey, I asked you about some stuff for the account. She's like, well, all the stuff went up like crazy.
Yeah.
And, we kind of just let it go. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, crap. Like, it moves savings over. I mean, you get in those binds.
Yeah. Oh,
even when you make good money.
Yeah.
You can, if you don't pay attention to it, like I've gotten those spots.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. Like it's a bad place to be because one, you're embarrassed to talk to about with people.
Yep.
And that makes it even tougher.
Right.
You know?
Most people feel like they need to keep up with the Joneses and
yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. Like I try not to do that, but we do live a certain lifestyle.
Right.
And we probably need to chill out on some of that too, you know?
Yeah,
but
for
do
sure.
a lot of buying and you don't think about it because you're like, oh, I'm making money. I'm doing this. I make this money a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this bonus. And then, you know, hey, 2 years, I didn't get a bonus because COVID and, you know, but it's just part of it. I mean,
Right.
if the company's not doing like what it should be, then you can't expect to.
Yeah. And the irony of it all is the more money you make, the more things you buy. And that's what people have to stop doing.
That's my problem.
I get people that tell me all the time, "Oh, my son or my daughter is about to be out of daycare. You know, that's going to be $800 a month that we save.
More I can spend."
They don't do that.
I know.
They don't do that.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're opposites on that, and I think it's a good conversation to have because I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with that.
Yeah.
And dude, we still have problems with that.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like it gets tough to where it's not fun, dude. I mean, it gets super stressful just because, dude, there's so much. And then kids are just more expensive. Everything's more.
Right.
Everything they want. Like, you know, hey, Christmas is coming up. Things like that. You're like, oh man, you dread those kind of things, which you shouldn't, but it's just part of it. You know? It's tough for everybody.
I would say on a small note, to kind of bring this full circle, you know, doing small things. Every bank offers something where, let's say you're a debit card user. If you are bad at saving money, do not use a debit card. And if you are okay to save money, do something called a roundup, which every time you buy something, you know, it's $10.27. Well, then they'll put 73 cents into your savings automatically. So they round up to 11. So that little bit sounds like a small amount, but let's say you buy something 5 times a day, which is easy to do.
Yep.
And you're getting 50, 75 cents, whatever it is, you're going to save, $3, $4, $5 a day just on what you purchase. That's $20 a week. I mean,
dude, that's the bad thing. It's so easy to swipe a card. I roll up the Starbucks, $7-8.
Yep.
Like, and I feel like it's nothing. Boom.
Yep.
Boom. You got to have drinks or dinner with friends. $150, $200. You're like, you go out to eat with you and your 2 kids at Chick-fil-A, and it's $50.
Yep.
And you don't think about it because it's fast food, but you're like,
you think about it when you're laying in bed and you look at your credit cards.
Exactly. And so, I get even going back to the food nutrition part. When I was doing that, I did save a lot of money because I'd buy a few pounds of chicken, a few pounds of ground beef, cook it during the beginning of the week, and I would eat that throughout the week, me and Crystal. And so it did save you some money. So it was actually saved me money to eat healthy.
Right.
And you knew what you were doing. Like
Yep.
it kind of helped. It kind of helped you get a little more strict. But like I said, I need to put that to work in my finances.
Yeah.
Because it gets, dude, I'm telling you, it gets real,
And it was fun. Right before we started filming this, we just crushed Chipotle.
I know.
Slaughtered it.
I'm still trying to. Dude, we messaged 2 Chipotle people. Nobody answered.
Nobody answered. I think maybe they have something where they're not allowed to be on
If anybody's seen on Instagram when I asked about anybody work for Chipotle, we're looking for somebody on Chipotle we can have on the show because we love Chipotle.
And we're not going to make fun of Chipotle or say anything disparaging. All we're going to do, we just want to talk to somebody and share our love. That's all we want to do.
Oh, man.
So, the other part.
Well, go ahead.
Are we skipping?
No.
Okay. So the other part of this was the financial advice is how to start a business. So I guess we can.
I mean, that starts with a good plan.
Yep.
And you got it, dude. You got to have some freaking Webelos, dude.
Yeah.
You really do.
And there's never a perfect time to start a business. Do it now.
That's like even having a kid.
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, me and Chris were talking about, hey, we're going to have a kid. And my dad told me this. I remember this. One of the good things my dad told me. He's like, man, because I was like, ever think about having a kid? We're just waiting. He's like, man, if you're gonna wait for the perfect time to have a kid, you're never gonna have a kid.
You'll never
Because
have
you're never
them.
gonna be financially perfect. You're never gonna have the perfect house or anything to be perfectly set. He goes, if you're gonna have kids, have your kids, and you're gonna figure it out.
Yep.
And that's really, I mean, that's probably the same way with businesses. I mean, this is a business for us, but we kind of like we said we stopped farting around and like we just said we're gonna start it.
Yep.
And we're going to figure it out along the way.
Put a day.
And that's what we did.
Do it.
Yeah.
Did it.
And there's a lot of stuff we talk about every day.
Yeah.
Ideas. It's a lot.
I think that's the most important part is most people, they have this idea, I want to make I want to make a business that sells ice cream. Great. So they're constrained by that business.
Yep.
And what people fail and they don't understand is if you take 50 self-started businesses, 90% of those are not going to work.
Yeah.
One of them will. I guarantee you one of them will. So don't go into something saying, I'm going to start this business and see what happens. You go into it, you start a business, and then you build businesses out from there on out. So using the Dale Not Dale podcast, our LLC, I don't think Dale or myself have ever said podcasting is the only thing we're going to do. There's been multiple conversations of what will derive from that. There's clothing companies. There's so many. It's so many avenues.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's more we want to do with it. I mean, like I said, we're having fun with this, but we really want to make this into something more, and build this up.
Yeah.
I do have an entrepreneurial mind. I don't have entrepreneurial capital or like that's. I have enough people, like if I really had a business plan, I have plenty of people I could go to and probably get funded.
Yeah.
But that's a big undertaking to where you're going to put your blank on the table and do it. You know, that's the tough part.
Yep.
Like, this is different. We haven't sunk much money in this.
No.
But if it was something that like a real startup, dude, that's daunting.
And we'll do anything we can to not borrow any money from anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. Except for Lindsay's mom.
Yeah. It would dime me out right there, man. No. Yeah.
But that was some good stuff, man. Like I said, hey, I know you're probably expecting us to be silly and funny, but these are questions like this stuff like really these are good for me to talk about because like I said, I'm talking about stuff that I normally wouldn't talk about or put out there.
Yeah.
But that's the realness of what's going on.
Yeah. Whoever asks us, if you're thinking of starting a business, do it tomorrow. File an LLC. Get with your do it now.
Yeah, just go all in.
Yep.
And be smart about it.
Yep.
But
it costs you $500 in the state of Texas to put an LLC together.
Yeah.
And it protects every asset that you possibly could have.
Okay.
So like if we say something right now and it makes somebody go and do harm to themselves, they could sue our LLC, and guess what? It's not worth anything. Sorry.
Bobby.
Just give it a month or two.
So I did get I got a few questions from people I know personally or some fans of the show from Out Daughter that I've connected with. And so this one, I think she was kind of being funny, but I said, I'm still going to ask it on here. I'm still going to talk about it. And she's like, I'm a new mother-in-law. I want to find out a balance between being kind and funny while presenting you hurt my daughter, I will come for you. And that's from Mandy. And so...
it's a great question.
Dude, I mean, we're going to get there one day. We'll be father-in-laws.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be to a girl, which is easier.
I'm to a son.
Huh?
Yeah, okay, father-in-law.
That's what I'm saying. I have a daughter.
Yeah.
So it'd be a little different. I mean, it's still the same thing, but it's a little different when that's your daughter.
Right.
Yeah, so I get that. Like, I don't know, man. You want to be one. You don't want to be a monster-in-law, Mandy.
No.
You've seen those movies.
Yeah.
They don't play out well.
No.
You just got to hope that your kid picked a good mate. That's not a piece of crap.
And I don't think I'd walk into it that you have to assert your dominance of your love for your child. If this person is a good person, they're going to see it You don't have to say it.
And if said person's a Barry Manilow fan, he's got you one over, Bandy.
Yeah,
We know that.
That's true.
Mandy's a big Barry Manilow fan.
And I think every person that gets married knows that if they have a loving mom and dad or aunt or uncle, they already have the mindset of, if you hurt my daughter, I will come for you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's easy to say. It's just so cliche.
It is.
It's very cliche.
It is.
But like for me, whenever me and Crystal got married, dude, I didn't come from like a big family gathering family,
right?
But hers was, and dude, I think they love me more than Crystal anyway.
I guarantee you.
Like Christmases and Easters and Thanksgivings, you know, I just kind of went in there, stole the spotlight. It's just what I do. Yeah. But no, dude, her family, like they welcome me in right away, and like I love them more than anything. And so hopefully that'll be, the son-in-law will be like that to your family.
Yeah.
And he'll just be a member of your family. You won't even think of him as a son-in-law, because it's one of those things where as long as you're not a shithead, you should be good.
Yeah.
Honestly,
those happen.
That happens.
And quite honestly, when you meet somebody, when a in-law or a possible in-law meets somebody, just remember that is the best you will ever see that person.
Correct.
It's not saying that they're going to turn bad, but that is the best. It's like a job interview. Everybody is their best in a job interview for the most part. And if he turns into be a shithead, then you kill him.
That's bad advice. Dude, once you said the LLC ain't worth anything, you just let it fly.
Dude, yeah, you're right, dude. Hey, we'll figure it out.
Oh man!
But great question. Next one is
from Isabel.
No, this is going to be more so down your alley.
No, you can probably answer better than me. I'm terrible at this.
I'll answer to this. So, can you give advice on how to stop going on electronic devices, which I'm assuming is going to be social media?
I can't.
So Dale can't. So I can tell you this. Social media is all made up. It is not real. So if you are into those things,
I am.
Dale's into it, then, do it, but set boundaries. I will be the first to tell you that I was one that would constantly sit by my phone, and I would, wait. If anybody called, they knew that I would answer. If anybody texted me, they knew I would answer, and I was easy to get a hold of. I got to a point, which we're going to talk about it towards the end. I got to a point where I had a cutoff. Like, I turn my phone on silent at night.
Yeah.
And if somebody needs me, that's, I hate to say it, but important enough, they have my wife's number. They have my parents' number. Yeah. They have everybody that can get a hold of me.
I'll call Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel. Yeah. Rachel will get a hold of me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, it is an addiction, and we're in a world now where things are so easy. You can Google it, you can look, and I find myself doing the same thing. It's instant gratification.
It's the worst. So I haven't watched that Social Dilemma movie yet on Netflix.
It's scary, yeah.
So we have some friends that are like, dude, you need to watch it with your kids. Yeah. I was like, I know it's gonna scare me too because, dude, I'm wrapped up. I mean, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We have Snapchat. I don't mess with Snapchat. But, I mean, dude, like everything.
MySpace.
I got MySpace still. I still got an AIM.
Yeah.
Still instant message people.
Did we talk about it? What was your first AIM message?
It was like T-Bird. A message?
I mean, not message. Handle.
It was like T-Bird something because we were some nicknames in high school.
Mine was Vaughn_YM99 after Young and Modern magazine. That was the first magazine I was ever in. That was how douchey I was. I love it.
It's carried on. So I mean, for me, man, it's tough. Even, and it's the classic case. I can be on my phone. Chris can be on the phone, and then she puts her phone there. She's like, "You're always on your phone."
Yeah.
I'm like, you just put yours down.
Oh man, that happens.
pisses me off.
Oh my God, that is such a double standard.
We need to start putting our phones in the other room. I'm like, okay, well, go ahead. You start it.
Yeah.
But the bad thing is from my, like, so you can turn your phone silent. From my line of work, it's 24/7 because it's in the refineries and plants. And like, dude, I've gotten calls middle of the night, 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve night or New Year's night.
Yeah. What happens if you don't answer though?
I don't know. I'm not going to not answer.
Well, if you don't know,
they would call back, or they would try to call like our office number. I don't know, but that's a big part of our company is service, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
So I've been in that game I've been in the customer service world ever since I waited tables. Then went Sprint cell phones, and then industrial. I mean, that's how I've built my business from customer service.
Right.
And that's just a big part of it. And so you have your anxiety of that, of like, I don't miss a phone call.
Yeah.
Because that could be the call you've been waiting on. I mean, that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Your competitor didn't have it, and they call you. You're the guy. Boom. And
how often does that happen? Like, how often is it that somebody calls, and it is, I guess, a large opportunity? Let's say you get 10 phone calls.
Yeah.
How many of those are not life changing?
Dude, they're few and far between, but that's the whale. Like, it can happen anytime. You never know.
Yeah.
So you don't want to gamble that, honestly. I mean, for me, I don't. I'm too, like, I'm very, you know me, I'm very particular. I'm very, like, structured. Like, I get on my sales guys that work for me. I'm like, dude, if you don't answer your phone when I call you, there's a problem. If you don't kick it to a message saying I'm on the other line or I'm in a meeting, at least to know you acknowledge it, like, that bugs me with the guys that work for me.
So you have a sales rep that's sitting across from an executive of Exxon, let's say.
Yep.
And they're doing a sales pitch. You call and they don't answer. You want them to text you to
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that doesn't happen as often either.
Yeah.
But it's just the optics of not answering your phone. You're like, well, you're not answering my phone call. How do I know you're answering the customer? I mean, that's what goes through my mind.
You got trust issues.
No, I don't like to. I'm big on. I do delegate, but I'm very particular, man. I know how my business needs to be run, and I want them to be like me. It's tough. That's tough because they can't be me.
Yeah,
that's the thing that me and my best friend and I work with Jacob Marceau. We fight about. We both, because like, we can't make these guys be us, but we still want them to be. So it's a constant battle we do
right
at work.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we get some guys like us? He's like, well, like the owner said, we're not going to find a Dell and a Jacob.
And
like, we get lucky and a Vaughn.
Yeah.
You might get lucky and find those people, but they're either gobbled up, or some of those guys used to be that and they're past that point now.
Right.
And so that makes it tough. But back to the electronics.
Yeah.
I am, dude, my phone's on all the time. I'm on it a lot. I'm on it way too much than I should be. It's not a FOMO thing. It's more of
it's easy.
I don't know, dude. It's just
you can find out what your neighbor's eating for dinner,
but
when you open your phone.
It's not even for that. It's more for
instant gratification.
But I'm not trying to look at other people's stuff. I'm more so reacting to, say, somebody sends a message, or somebody, whatever, or we post something and we're waiting to get, like, all day today I posted that thing. I'm checking it, refreshing it every so often, and I'm sending those things to you. Boom, boom, boom. And it's more of that. It's not like I don't go through like, oh, I can't wait to swipe and see what they're doing. I don't. That doesn't really excite me. Except on Facebook, you see your friends' kids and stuff like that, which is cool.
Right.
But it's it is very addicting.
It is.
And I don't know how you break that.
I mean, I
like, unless you do cold turkey.
I had a Facebook in 2006. July 24th of 2006, I had a Facebook. July 24th of 2007, I shut the Facebook off because I knew this thing is turning into something that's not real for me. I quite honestly, and this isn't because I don't care, but I'm not interested to see how you and your husband's life is so great.
Well, the highlight of their life.
Yeah, and I'm not. That stuff doesn't interest me. What actually does interest me is if I would be on social media, I can tell you a fact of what it would be. I'm going to post the real stuff. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to post, it's been a tough day, blah, blah, blah. And it's not because I want somebody to feel bad for me. It's because that's my life. I'm going to portray it on social media the same way. And it's just one of those things. Like it's just not real for me.
But some people do overboard with that too, though.
But
it's a lot of attention. I get it. Dude, I do stuff. I post stuff intentionally for people to see it, like it, comment it. That's just a part of the world we're in.
Yeah.
In the world I'm in. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just where we're at.
Right.
Could I limit that? Do I need to limit that? Yes. I think I would be I'm not a happy person, but I would probably be more productive.
Yeah. I mean, really, it takes a lot of a lot of weight. I mean, it's just like a study came out. This is going so off canter, but I love it. There was a study done about 20 years ago that people who smoke cigarettes were costing $20.2 billion a year to businesses for unproductivity. Because if you think about it, that's 15 minutes of X amount of people that smoke, and the amount of money that they make, it's not like they're taking off. They're getting paid 15 minutes of smoking, right? It's the same with electronics. People sit at their desk, and I see it all the time. They sit at their desk, they're on their computer, and they're an IT person, and they've got their phone out and they're looking at Facebook. Yeah. Like I see it. Like,
no, dude, I'm guilty. I mean, like I said, and everybody is. There's nobody that doesn't, unless you don't have it. I mean, that's just how it is. So I don't have any good advice to stop, except for you got to just do it.
Yeah, try it,
dude. I need to try it.
Do 7. I mean, not necessarily for you. Do 7 days with no phone. See how you feel. This is answering the question. And also, this is one thing that I was going to say too. We live in a world now where a lot of parents parent their children with electronics.
Yep.
So their kids unruly, their kids screaming, they're upset.
I'm taking your iPad.
Yeah, I'll take your iPad, but really and truly, they give them an iPad so that they stop doing those things. Yeah. So you're telling a child, for you to stop crying, I'm going to give you an iPad. But then you're going to punish them with not giving it to them if they do something wrong. I mean, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
And it's going to make kids be addicted to.
Oh, dude, I've seen it. I've seen it. I took it from Mackenzie one time, dude. She freaked out like a crack fiend, dude.
Yeah.
It was scary. I was like, dude, this is bad. And then something happened a while back. We took it from her her phone for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I think she enjoyed it because after the initial day or two, whatever, then she was good. And then I feel like she was, because you're not in it. You're not in it,
right? Thinking
about it, doing stuff, texting people. I mean, they got group text with 40 kids on there. I'm like, how can you even keep up with this?
Yeah.
It's like our group text. It's like you can look down, you got 96 missed messages between our wives and friends in that group text.
And by the time I look at it, we're on to a new subject.
Exactly.
But stop doing it.
Yeah, Isabel, just try to not do it. I mean, like I said, there's no other way to do it except for just cutting it off.
Yeah.
Or delete the apps, just for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Christina. She needs advice from getting over a messy breakup. I honestly can say I never had a messy breakup.
I haven't either.
I don't know, except for hopefully you're not one of those people, or your ex is one of those about the drama. I mean, I've seen it in friends and other family members,
right?
And I can see. I mean, it can get messy.
So I think I haven't had a messy breakup. You haven't had a messy breakup. So I'm like, how can we give somebody advice about that? So I think what I've just realized is there's a reason for that. If you have a messy breakup, regardless of whose fault it was, whatever happened, and it's messy, you were with the wrong person anyway. because I firmly believe
Yeah, it was
that
toxic.
That if you're having a relationship with somebody and it becomes a messy breakup, that this was the wrong person anyway. Because I don't foresee myself ever having a messy breakup.
So me and Crystal have been together 20 years. We'll be married on the 20th, 15 years. I know y'all just had anniversary. How many years is that?
13.
13 years.
I put her on probation, by the way.
I don't know about y'all, but me and Crystal being together 20 years, dude, we never had a break. We never broke up. We never had one of those times you're like, all right, we're gonna call it off for a little while. We never had that, thankfully. I mean, it was just we made everything work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the testament to us being together 20 years is we've made it work. Like it's hard. We'll go through some tough times. You go through some stressful situations. We just went through that not too long ago. And but you figure it out and you got to work on both sides, dude. It's not all freaking honeymoon stage, dude. It gets real life. You get roommates for a little while and then you get back into the groove. I mean, it's just part of it.
It's the life cycle of relationships. And I think and by no means am I saying this to sound animalistic, but if through evolution of humans, we're legitimately animals. We are not made to be monogamous. So when they talk about relationships being work, that is work. It is work to be monogamous to somebody, because you want there's many things out in the world, and not everybody has everything. You might think so, but the problem is not everybody has everything. You will never find the perfect person. So I think people tend to maybe stray away from marriage, whatever it is, because they're trying to find something
looking
they're missing.
for some, greener pastures.
Yeah,
and there's not.
Yeah,
but I am going to be on next season of Sister Wives.
Yeah, I know. I cannot wait.
We're announcing this live.
Nah,
Sorry,
I
Chris.
can't. I love that. But grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes you got to water your own yard.
Yep, that's right. And they're all crazy. And guys are all weird. I mean, we all got our quirks, man. Guys, men and women, they're totally opposite, and they're all the same.
Yep.
I mean, it is.
It is.
Men, we're simple creatures.
It's very, yes. Even when you're not, even when you're not simple, I have a very simple wife. I mean, not simple in the terms of she's not needy. She's not like,
she's not extra.
Right. She's not extra. But I am much more simple than that. And I think that causes an issue every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you seem like you just don't care? Well, I don't.
You know that.
You cooked dinner and you made it dinner. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, do you like it? It's pretty good. Yeah. Well, it's not great. No, it's not. It's not great. No.
It's not Chipotle.
No, you heated up Campbell's soup. I mean, can I be honest? I mean,
oh man, that's funny.
The next one's great. How to become an actor.
Easy. I got this.
Okay, I knew you would.
So one, you need to have a sister-in-law that gets pregnant with a bunch of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then TLC hits them up, and then you go on a TV show, and then you're an uncle,
right?
And then you act like an idiot and talk to kids like they're adults, and that's how you become an actor.
Oh yeah,
it was a long road, guys.
Is that a true story?
True story.
Oh okay.
It's about this guy. His name's Uncle Dale.
Oh,
cool cat. Yeah. So I mean, we're not actors. I mean, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
I'm on a reality show, but we're being ourselves. We're truly a wholesome, normal family to an extent. I mean, I say normal. Nobody's normal,
right?
But we're just a family that happens to really enjoy being around each other. Have close knit cousins. The sisters are real close. The brother-in-laws are real close. But I mean, I'm not an actor. Vaughn was a model. I mean, he did some acting.
I did. Yeah, I was a Campbell's soup kid.
But a lot of it. I mean, unless you go. I mean, you hear about. If you listen to podcasts, you hear about actors, musicians, they go to Nashville, or country singers.
Yeah.
Or if you're an actor, you go to my buddy Travis. This would be a good question when I have Travis on. My buddy Travis was a teen. He did movies young.
Yeah.
Star Search, things like that. And then he moved straight to LA after high school. And that's what you kind of do. I mean, you got to go immerse yourself in that world.
Yeah.
You can't be from a small town in Kansas and want to be discovered as an actor.
No.
You got to go there. And like, I'm sure he was like a waiter, the typical cliche things. I'm a waiter doing this. I'm going to do different, gigs like auditions.
Right.
You may do some open mic stuff if you're trying to be a comedian. I mean, but you gotta be in it.
You gotta be where it is.
You can't expect to be a big country star unless you want to be a Texas country guy, and then you got to be in the kind of underground in the circuit. I watched that Garth Brooks documentary the other day. I was saying about and he's from Oklahoma.
Yep.
Had a good following there, big guy. And then he goes he goes to Nashville. He gets there and he realizes that it's going to be a lot of work. And the money that he heard one guy was getting paid for a month, he'd made that in a week. And the guy, he's like, dude, you make that in a week, I would go back to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So literally he drove there, 24 hours, drove back. And he's like, I'm not ready for this. And he, then he got his mind right and then went back.
Yeah.
And then freaking Garth Brooks.
Yeah, Garth Brooks is pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, I love him. But that's the thing. He knew, and people knew, if he wanted to get big and being a country singer, you had to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
And so you hear all those stories, and if you want to be an actor, you got to go to L.A.
Yep.
Or New York. New York,
actually now,
Atlanta.
Now it's Atlanta.
Atlanta's where they're filming a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of how you got to do it, I think. And you got to know people.
Yeah. You got to know people. And I think, so for me, I mean, I'm not going to speak to the acting part because that was such a small amount of things that I did. But for me, it was more, there's print, which is basically modeling.
Yeah, you got it from modeling.
Yeah. And I think most of that was, in my mind, when you're young, you're in a group, right? So you see people like, oh, this person's, they're photogenic, they're good looking, they're whatever that may be. And so when I first went to New York at 13 years old, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm me. There's not going to be anybody else.
Yeah.
The very next day, I walked into a room and I saw that, wait a second, there's a lot of people that look like me.
There's a bunch of kids with frosted tips.
I mean, there was a ton of, they're all good looking. They're all tall. They're all, muscular. They were all the same.
It was a type because that's what they're casting.
Yeah. And you have to do just one thing different than the other, whether it's how you say it or it's so incredibly, it's
a cutthroat business. I would think
it's horrible.
I've watched a bunch of documentaries or reality shows about the stuff you go through, and dude, I was talking to myself the other day. There's nothing easy.
Nope,
nothing's easy. There's no road for anything that's going to be easy. And if it is, it ain't worth it.
Yep.
Like, dude, I've always worked for the underdog kind of companies. Once I got into the sales world of industrial sales, which I love. Like, dude, it's hard. And it's exhausting, but it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to work for the big company, like things are kind of handed to you. That's just my personality is I want to go compete and I want to go win.
Yep.
I don't want somebody just to give me something because I work for said company that gets all the whatever.
You didn't want to say United Rental?
No, I hate them. I hate them.
I did it. I said it.
But yeah, becoming an actor, like, dude, it's not easy. It can't be easy because everybody, it's like becoming a pro athlete.
Yeah.
There's everybody, and there's always going to be somebody better, like you said, better looking or better for that role than you.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, look at all the famous people that are older now that get so much work done trying to stay younger.
Yep.
To be in that business.
Yeah.
I mean, because they can't let go of it. That's their whole life.
Yep. It's a tough.
We're getting both talks next week.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to get back to being a Campbell's soup kid. Good. But yeah, how to become an actor. Don't.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
There's a lot of crazy people out there.
And if you're doing it for money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Dude, I listened to the last Joe Rogan episode of with Rick Rubin. I'm a big music guy, and I know a lot of Rick Rubin stuff that he produced. And he talks about that. He's got a new book came out. I got to get it. And it's just tell you, man, Joe Rogan is a genius.
He is.
And the people he gets on, you learn so much from so many different people if you listen to it.
Yeah.
Like Rick Rubin is a big music guy, but a lot of what we talked about wasn't even about music. It's about creativity and how to do things. He's like, man, there's nothing in this book I talk about my life or me about doing music or stuff like that. It's all about the creative thing about anything, starting a business. I mean, this book sounds awesome.
We need to get it.
I need to send it to you. Yeah, it's one of those things. So, I mean, yeah, if you're called to be an actor, then dude, I mean, it's gonna be a tough road. So I don't know.
Yeah. Good luck though.
Yeah, or you can just act like you're one of my nieces or nephews.
Yeah.
I'll get you hooked up.
You know what?
I know people.
Who is this? Melissa. All right, Melissa R. We're gonna get you a start in acting.
We got it.
I am formally inviting you on to the Dale Not Dale podcast to talk about it.
There we go.
Now, here's the catch. If my opinion is going to hurt your feelings, then I don't want you to come on. But because I will say, if I think you're going to make it, and I could be wrong, but I just want to give my opinion.
And $500.
And $500. Like we pay her?
No, from her.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of business. It's showbiz, baby.
That is, yeah.
You gotta pay to play.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time I had a $10,000 portfolio. That's how much most people would have paid. Luckily, I had an agent who paid for it, but $10,000 worth of pictures. And people would think, oh, that's like a full book. Oh, no. That's like 7 pages.
Holy cow.
I mean, it's unreal the amount of money it takes to make.
And that was way back when?
That was that was...
Mid-90s?
No, 2003 was the last year.
Oh, I'm talking when you got started. That's what I was thinking.
No. So that's the thing is you change them every 8 months.
It's got to stay relevant.
Yeah. So especially when you're younger, because you're aging, right? You're in a growth spurt, or you're a little taller. Your facial structure changes. I mean, now, you wouldn't have to do it as much. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get back into it.
I think you should. Okay, this is one of the messages I got from this guy Jeff. And Jeff always tries to troll me on Instagram, which is funny. I love it. Like, so if anybody wants to troll me and comment stuff on my post, I welcome it. It's fun. But he asked, my friend's wife cheated on him, and he has been stuck in a rut about divorcing her or not for 10 months now. And he's like, what kind of advice do you have? I'm like, at first I was like, that's one of those things. As a friend, it's easy to say what you would do. But that's one of the things that you can say what you're going to do unless it happens to you.
Yeah.
Because you can say, oh, dude, Crystal cheated on me. I'm done with her. Over with. I'm taking the kids. Da-da-da. You can say all that stuff. And then it happens to you. And I'm sure, it ain't that easy.
No.
You can't just cut ties with somebody.
Nope.
And that's what he's going through. So I'm like, I don't know, dude. I've never been through that.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say is like, and he's doing it right. He goes, man, I told the guy I got his back. Either stick with her or divorce her.
Yeah.
But he said he's been like a shell of himself since then. I'm sure, because he said he thinks his wife is still seeing this guy, and he's not 100% sure. So he's like, man, you either got to live with that suspicion and guilt, or unless you
for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
and that'll never go away.
Dude. I don't know what to say about that, because I've never been through that personally. I've seen it and I've heard about it through friends and stuff like that. And it's easy to have an opinion when it's not you.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was me. I would have. No, you won't. You don't know what you're gonna do.
Yeah. I've had experience with one of my friends going through something like this, and one thing that I can tell you, you're always there for your friends. You support them when you can, and you have to put time constraints on it though. For me, what I had somebody's back for a really long time, and it actually started affecting my friendship with said person. Yeah, because everything revolved around this breakup. It was always, we'd go out and have a couple beers together, and oh man, I gotta go. She's calling. She said she's wanting to meet up, and it's like, listen, your rut, I feel like I get it. I understand it's got to be tough. You're going through it. Yeah. But I can't, I don't want to be in that rut either. So, yeah. stick in until you can, and then at one point you got to say, hey, dude, it's either going to be you make a decision, but from here on out, I'm done talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you can't take on their cross, their burdens.
Yeah.
That's what you're kind of doing.
Yeah.
I had a good friend of mine that went through that a couple years ago, and for me, it was a sucky situation because me and him became really good buddies, and some things happened between him and his wife, and really for me, I was just listening.
You're the sounding board.
He would call me on his way home from work, and he would tell me about stuff, and I would just listen to him, and I'd be like, man, I would just be there. That's all I could do.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I've never been through this, but this is my thoughts. But dude, take it with a grain of salt because I've never been through this, you know? And I was like, really just let him talk. I'm like, dude, hey man, I get it, dude. I hate you going through this. Say some prayers for you. Sucks for you and the kids. It's one of those things. But like I said, man, that's a tough spot for people that you know that you care for that are hurting because it's got to be a sucky situation, dude.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't like even them. They tell you that. I got some couple buddies been divorced. So like, dude, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like it's terrible.
Yeah,
my best friend went through that, and like I said, man, it can't be. That's got to be tough to deal with.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't. We never been through that.
Yeah.
I have no sound advice to be like, man, hey, well, it happened to me. I did X, but you don't know until it happens to you.
Yeah.
It's just like say somebody's coming to rob your house. You go, oh, I'd grab a gun and shoot them. You say that, but you don't know how you're going to react when that stuff happens. You don't know.
You have no clue. No, you've never been there. And there's some people that I would say, yeah, you know, I wholeheartedly believe this person would shoot another person if they were getting robbed.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I would do anything to protect my family.
Yep.
But I can promise you that it would have mental ramifications for me for the rest of my life.
Oh, I get
the
it.
amount of guilt that I would feel.
Yeah.
And even though even though it was justified.
I'm a very empathetic person. Dude, even so, like a few years back when I first moved to Texas, I got jury duty. I went. You know, I was like, okay, I'm going to fulfill my civil duty. I went there and I got selected as an alternate
civic duty.
Whatever.
You weren't getting sued.
So civic duty. We'll edit that.
I love that.
But I got, and it was on a grand jury for like a child molestation case, and dude, it was wild.
Yeah,
like it was crazy to be a part of that, especially being a parent with kids. You're like, oh man, I mean, this is bizarre.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you have to listen and endure and go through, like, man, it sucked.
Yeah.
And then even knowing that and you have your idea, like I was an alternate, so I didn't have any say in the deliberation or anything. And this guy got a bunch of years in prison to where I was like, you know, and his reaction when they said it, like, dude, I've like, as much as you feel like what a piece of crap that did this to a child, then you feel for that person too, for what they're going, like, dude,
you feel more so for that person's family.
Yeah, because it doesn't just affect him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just affect the little girl.
Yeah.
It affects everybody.
Yeah.
And that family was torn apart. And dude, it went on for a week. And it was a tough week, man. It was brutal, dude. I hated it. Like it was one of those things where
boring. It's not for somebody who likes to stand up and do things all the time.
Yeah. It was just more of I learned a lot about the judicial system and things like that, which was cool because you learned a lot because you heard a lot and you did a lot of things. But that's just kind of going back to the empathy part. You know, like even though the guy, you know, was convicted as it and got the sentence, and then you see his reaction, like you still feel for the human being.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, he could have been a changed man, and this happened years ago. Yeah, but it doesn't make it better. You still did the crime, and he's paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, you know, as another human seeing somebody going through that, it's tough to not. You can't just think about, oh, he's whatever. I mean, I don't have that in me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think in that case, though, I'd be totally okay depending. I don't know the scenario.
And I was at peace with it. I mean, I didn't make the decision, but I was at peace with it. But I guess it's just more of how the reaction was, and then you hear that and the families around. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of emotions going on.
Yeah.
Just crazy, like stuff I would have never thought I'd had to go through, and I was like, man, I do not want to do this ever again.
What was that?
We were talking about the cheating wife.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I guess our opinion is you don't know what you're going to do till you go through it. I can't.
Yeah, and always fulfill your civic duty.
Our civil duty.
Our civil duty. If you get sued in small claims court, you need to do your civil duty. I mean, you got to show up.
Judge Judy will get you.
You got to show up if subpoenaed, and you got to stand in whatever plaintiff or defendant.
You keep talking. I'm cutting this whole part out.
No, you're not. Dude, I love it.
Oh man,
it was a blooper.
All right. Marissa asked for relationship advice. I think we kind of touched on that.
We kind of did, yeah.
Saying that, hey, a relationship that you want, you got to work for it.
Yep.
And you got to put in the time. You got to have affection, show love. You got to, like they always say, you got to keep dating your spouse. Me and Crystal still go out. We do things. We do a lot of things as couples as well. Just 'cause I think it's good to have a long time, but it's also, I like having fellowship. I like having our friends around.
Yeah.
Like me, I like having an audience.
Yeah.
More people I can make laugh, the better.
Yeah, dude, that's
and
right.
It's more people to pick on.
It is.
I mean, pick on Lauren and Mike. That's better.
Oh, so easy.
Yeah. So I mean that's our best relationship advice. I think it's nothing's easy, man.
You got to joke around,
and you get with
your spouse.
Oh, I had Crystal pissed yesterday. So Crystal comes home last night with Kinsey. Today was like 80s day. And she had a Nirvana shirt. I'm like, Nirvana's not an 80s rock band. Well, I looked them up. They were formed in 1989. I'm like, they are not an 80s rock band. Well, I asked Siri. I'm like,
Siri's not always right.
Siri just said when they developed their band, they're not known as an 80s rock band.
Yeah, no, they're
not. You
can
ask 1,000 people that will tell you no.
They were in the grunge era.
They were at 90s.
Yeah,
they're the one that killed 80s rock.
Yeah,
that's what they were. The grunge. Their music killed 80s rock.
Yeah.
That's exactly how this even plays out. Their era trumps that. The big hair bands go away. Grunge, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, those all come out.
God, he was a great artist.
But, dude, I made some... me and Chris were like... She was getting pissed, and I was joking about it. And, oh, man, I had her going last night. And Kinsey laughing the whole time at me, picking on Crystal, didn't help.
Speaking of Kurt Cobain, his... MTV Unplugged live.
Oh, great!
Unplugged.
That and Alice in Chains
is the Unplugged when he sang the song. In the pines, and the sun don't ever shine. I shivered all night through. I don't remember exactly what the name of the song was. That was the most like emotional feeling I've seen like watching. And then
we can tell the dude was hurting. I mean,
yeah. And then Red Hot Chili Peppers live at Slane Castle. God,
I like Red Hot. They got another double album coming out. That's their second one. Rick Rubin was talking about. He produced both of those.
Yeah,
they have this year 8 months apart. They have two. They had a double album come out at the beginning of the year, and they got another one about to come out.
Yeah,
so that's a lot of music.
Yeah.
But what were we just talking about on that?
Relationship advice?
No, about the music thing. God dang it. Well, Nirvana's not an 80s
Alice in Chains.
No, Nirvana's. Making the album. You got to look that up. They have an episode of making the album, making the Lithium album.
Yeah.
And dude, it's so like, and they would play like the guy talking about he's making the music and this, and he would play just the lyrics of him singing, like how haunting and like, dude, it's just, they were a great band. And then that one song, something's in the way or
something's in the way.
Yeah. That song.
I'm a great singer.
And they were talking about it. He's like, hey, we need you to sing this like kind of breathy, like you're out of breath or whatever. So Kurt Cobain puts the mic in the air, lays flat on his back, and sings that part. And then they play it. You're like, oh, man, that's how they got that sound.
Yeah.
And it's like I love documentaries on bands. The Eagles were my favorite ones. There's a bunch of them. I like watching documentaries on bands because you get to know what they were thinking, how they did music, how things kind of came about. Dude, that just interests me more than anything. I like reading autobiographies. I like reading about people.
Yeah.
And so that was super cool. Talk about Nirvana because, like, man, and they're not an 80s band, Crystal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and to take full circle on that one too, relationship advice, you need to be more like Kurt Cobain.
No. Him and Courtney
prior to 92.
Him and Courtney Love did not have. Well, I don't know. She loved him.
Yeah, she does. She's a great woman.
I think this is a good one for you. I haven't experienced this myself. I don't really have this. If I do, I suppress it internally. But somebody asked about advice on anxiety attacks.
Yeah. So this one, Dale actually texted me a screenshot of this question, which is something that, obviously I joke around and, everything's funny to me. I get it. But I have, from the time I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with something called generalized anxiety disorder. So essentially what it is you're anxious at all times. Everybody says, "What are you anxious about?" I don't know the answer. Yeah. I don't know what I'm anxious about. So I was geared for people to ask me that for years. What are you anxious about? And I always tried to find something. I always in my mind was like, it's this, because I wanted to give somebody an answer to tell them. And you do not find the answer of what makes you anxious. It's little things that set you off at all times. And I can tell you that I have been through many things in my life, and I would never wish anxiety upon my worst enemy. Yeah. It is debilitating. So I can tell you from my experience. I'll keep it relatively short. For me, so anxiety is what essentially pushed me to not drink alcohol. I got to a point in my life where I was having significant amount of anxiety, and it was caused by it was hangovers. I would get really, really bad anxiety, and I would have panic attacks. Well, what I started noticing happening is I can tell you that of any medication that is on the market, alcohol works the best for people that are extremely anxious.
Yeah, I get that.
Which is a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped drinking alcohol. Now, I won't say that anxiety completely has left my life, but it is one of those things that I can contain a little bit better now. And you have literally got to find ways, and it's different for everybody. Some people it's working out, some people it's working. Mm-hmm. For me, it's sitting there looking at, making and putting ideas together on paper and messing with spreadsheets. Like, it keeps my mind off of it. But just know that it's never going to go away. People don't get out of anxiety. It never goes away. You just have to know how to tame it.
So I've never personally dealt with it. If I have, I can't say I've never got anxiety about things, but I don't know. I guess I never had that. I don't remember that as a kid, or not enough to where I'm like, okay, I need to go to a doctor for it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of even me. Like, I'm not a big feelings guy.
Yeah.
Talk about my feelings with people, talk about my personal life with people, even when I'm struggling. Like, I won't. Even with Crystal, me and her have problems talking about stuff. And I'm sure a lot of relationships are like that.
Yeah.
Is talking about issues, and that's something you want to get better at with your spouse, or even with close friends, and I've talked to you about things that I'm more vulnerable about, but I'm not really, never been that guy. Like, my dad wasn't that guy. I just wasn't. I'm more of like, hey, be the macho man and just roll with it. That's how I've always been. It's not the best way, because you probably suppress a lot of stuff that'll come up eventually.
Yep.
But I think the anxiety thing, I never really experienced it. I didn't, I was naive to it. I thought, it's just people they're just being pansies. You know, I mean, that's how I felt back in the day. I was like,
because you didn't have anxiety.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're naive and dumb to it because you haven't experienced it or seen it with somebody real close to you.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking, oh man, that's just something, that's just mind over matter, dude. I pull up my bootstraps and I'm going to go. You know, that was my mindset. That's kind of how I still act.
Yeah.
But I know that that's a very clinical thing that people, I mean, Crystal deals with it. I mean, and I still don't get it. I'm sympathetic to it, empathetic to it, and I understand. And it sucks to have to take medicine for that stuff, but I get it. I mean, she tells me, or I've talked to other friends, or and I get that this is a real issue.
Yeah,
it's a big. I guess the best thing is, since the mental health thing has come out for men to talk about and be open about, it's probably been a lot better for guys.
Yep.
That deal with it, because before, it's like, oh man, you're being a, whatever P word.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy for somebody to say that's not dealing with it.
Exactly.
And I've been more, I guess, conscious of it and cognitive of our friends that have it, and you see it, and you hope your kids don't have that.
Yeah.
Because Hal McKenzie had some anxiety as a younger kid. Bronson has some separation anxiety sometimes. You don't like being without us if there's in a crowd or go. I mean, it's just how he is.
Yeah.
And it sucks, you like, and you try not to be a jerk about it. Like, man, just do, but you can't explain your innards of how your chemical in your mind and everything works. And that's what I didn't get for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I was kind of not a jerk about it, but in my mind, I was thinking, oh, dude, they're just not strong people.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
Yeah. It's like, my friend Anthony. I'll be like, man, yeah, I'm having, just like having some really bad anxiety. He'll tell me, Willis, I don't understand it. You just need to just let it go. Don't be stupid. And, honestly, I guess to Elizabeth, advice on anxiety attacks, very simple. Talk about it. Yeah. Bring it up. I mean, don't bring it up all the time. Talk about it. Yeah. I can tell you that anybody that brings up their anxiety, I find common denominators of what they feel and how I feel. I still don't know what causes my anxiety. I just know that it happens. But I do know that there's some good that's come about it. I am extreme. I'm overwhelmed with anxiety about not being successful. I'm overwhelmed with anxiety of not moving something forward and making it better. Those things drive me. So I use that anxiety to success.
It's a driver for you.
Yeah.
But not everybody does that. Some people go in a dark hole
and they just sit in it.
They shut the world off.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, you need sunlight. You need to be out there. You need to interact with other humans.
Right.
There's a lot of things you need to do that could help.
Yep.
But shutting yourself off, and it's easy for me to say because I don't deal with that, but that's just, I know there's some things you can do that could help.
Yeah.
And talking about it,
it's
got to be really good. And like I said, dude, and I am the worst about talking to anybody about like I said, my personal life, my marriage.
Are you about to cry?
No.
Okay.
My issues that I deal with. Like, dude, there's people don't know the stuff I deal with because I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just not that person.
You're too bro.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to talk. Like, I'd have to talk something like that BetterHelp thing. Talking to somebody over the internet. Maybe would help. But I don't know what I would even talk about. I would probably uncover a lot of things that.
Yeah.
I've suppressed my whole life.
Some people, like, if you're religious and you're in the Catholic Church, there's confession. They go and they confess their sins, and some people feel good after that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of the same with the BetterHelp.com. Is it com or org? BetterHelp.com.
I don't know.
It's one of those things. If you feel like you can't tell people, call somebody, a random stranger, a random therapist. Tell them. It might make you feel better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Talking things out has got to help because, and it's easy. I say that, but me and Crystal still have trouble communicating, and that's probably more me just being a prick
I mean, she doesn't speak English.
No. and she's not the best at opening up too.
Yeah.
And so that makes it tough. And like, how do you get past that? I don't know, man. It's just this is an interesting episode because it really is. I mean, we're talking about some shit that's real, man.
We're out of Dale's comfort zone.
I know, 100%.
And this is the stuff I constantly try to pull Dale in all the time. Like, tell me about that. How does that make you feel? And he's like, what? That's stupid.
Yeah.
Let's post something on social media.
Crab cakes and football.
Yeah, dude, I love crab cakes.
I do too.
I love football.
I love too. So yeah, I mean, anxiety is a real deal. I don't suffer from it, thankfully. I have friends, Vaughn, my wife. I have a lot of people that I know that do. I mean, hell, Adam came out years ago. He had some mental health issues. So, he's dealing with having 6 kids.
Yeah.
Overnight. I mean, he had 1 already, but I mean, having 1 to 6 overnight.
Yeah.
And dealing with that struggle and being a dad to all girls. And there's a lot of stuff you fast forward in your mind thinking about that you shouldn't, but it's easy to do. Think about, man, that's a lot of kids that got to get through school, marriage, college, and if you deal with some anxiety already, you got to think that will compound a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then, if you have money issues, marriage issues, work issues, anything like that will just help trigger those things.
Yep.
So, man, I don't have any advice except for if you don't have it and you have friends that do it, be sympathetic to it. And, maybe talk to them about it or whatever. I don't know what the right answer is, but don't be a jerk like I was back in the day, thinking that no, they're just being weak.
Yeah,
you can overcome that.
But I can say that, and then this is the last part I'm going to say on anxiety. Some people say, "Oh, well, I have anxiety, so I can't do something." Nobody can ever use anxiety as an excuse not to live. And I see a lot of that in the media and stuff like that. Oh, they have anxiety and they can't do something. That's not how anxiety works. If you're anxious about certain things and you're using that to not do something to make your life better, you cannot blame it on anxiety. I don't care what anyone says. You can be scared to jump out of a plane. That's not anxiety. That's
just a fear.
That's fear.
Yeah.
You cannot have anxiety and not better your life and use that as the reason why. I mean, it just can't happen. So don't do it.
Yeah. No. Like I said, man, we're getting a little deep here on the Dale Not Dale podcast.
Yeah, the last one's a little deep too.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of rolls into, I know you kind of alluded to it, advice from Vaughn on how to give up alcohol.
So, everything is situational, I think. I get people ask me all the time. So, so I'm almost 3 years into not drinking. I don't foresee myself drinking anytime soon. I'm never going to say never, because when I'm 55 years old and I'm retired, I might want to sit outside and I might want to drink a
hot toddy.
I might want to. So I'm never going to say I'm not going to. Some people, they ask, you say, "Oh, I don't drink." They'll say, "Oh," and I say, "I used to." "Oh, so you were an alcoholic." What is alcoholism? I don't know what alcoholism is. I can tell you that I was a binge drinker. I didn't have a point to stop. I could consume a lot of alcohol. I did not depend on it. But
like, you didn't wake up wanting to drink?
No, okay. Absolutely not.
I've never been that way. Like, I didn't drink in high school just because I didn't like it. Like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But I had just as much fun without it.
Yeah.
I did it after, just because part of your life, it's a party phase.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm still like that. Hey, I like to have a good time. You know me, I like to have fun and kind of rage every once in a while. But dude, I rarely do it.
Yeah, you really don't.
I don't care for it. Like I said, when I do, since when you try to, like, another part of the nutrition and food thing, and working out, you're working out, trying to eat right well, drinking will just set you back.
Yeah.
You'll drink and then you'll lose some stuff, or that leads to eating bad. So there's a lot of things that kind of come from that. In my mind, I see, so I'm like, man, I could go without drinking. I could do the same thing. I have no reason to do it. I could do it just because out of like, I don't need it in my life.
Yeah.
Do I enjoy having a drink with friends? Yeah, I love it. Like,
yeah,
it's a good time. And there's sometimes I like to let loose and have a party with friends, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing, I guess part of that being you had anxiety from it. When I was crazy drunk that night in Puerto Rico,
I started getting anxiety.
But then I did all kind of crazy stuff. The next morning we go breakfast and you're like, before golf, you're like, you're fine. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you don't regret anything you did or whatever? I'm like, no. You're like, yeah, you're an animal. You know?
Dude, you are an animal. That was my biggest fear.
I was like, well, I was no hangover. I get up. I'm ready to go when I get up.
Yeah.
I'm happy and positive and I want to go. You seen that? I mean, I didn't have any remorse or like, oh man, like you felt in the past, like, man, I hope I didn't get somebody upset or hope I didn't do something dumb. I don't even care.
And make you, that's phenomenal. I was complete opposite.
Dude, there's not a lot going on up here. My friend Jacob says he loved my quote one time. I was like, I don't think, I just do. And we talked about that before. And it's probably not the best way to live your life, but that's how I live my life.
Honestly,
I shoot from the hip. I do everything on feel, and I just go.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm an overanalyzer. I overthink everything I have. I put a lot of thought into.
And my problem is I don't think about a lot of things, but it's got me. I'm a successful guy from this.
Yeah.
I've been successful in business and been successful in my life.
Right.
So I can't say that I need to change it up because this hasn't worked for me, dude. I think the way I act and treat people and do things, it's benefited my life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that for other people, but dude, it works for me.
Yeah.
And it's almost, maybe to a fault at point, but dude, I'm a gunslinger, dude. I just fly by the seat of my pants. Everything I do.
Yep.
I hate it. I hate it sometimes. Like I would go into a big presentation for work for Exxon.
With nothing planned.
No.
And just shoot from the hip.
Let's go.
Not everybody can do that. That's the thing.
But you got to have wit.
Right.
We talked about that. You got to have wit. You got to have some smarts. Like as much as I feel like I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
I know I got a lot of street smarts. I didn't go to college. I'm not a freaking, like I didn't have that part of me, but I know I'm a smart guy. But that's the thing. I would do that. Like I'm going to go into a big situation and I'm like, and my buddy Jacob, Marcel, you met before.
Yeah.
He's the same way.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm going to wing it and I'm going to figure this out on the fly. Dude, and it works out, but you got to be able to think on your toes and figure out shit quick and know.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I would rather,
but I regret it sometimes. I'm like, God, why can't I be a little bit of structure?
Yeah. I mean, I know sales presentations, that stuff. I really do wing most of that because you don't want to sound salesy.
No, or you don't want to be a robot,
right?
And a lot of that changed. I had a sales guy came through from LSU trainer. His name was EJ, and man, he did a sales training for our company called The Mind of a Sales Warrior, or something like that. Yeah, and dude, it just flipped everything I knew about sales over.
Yeah,
on presenting sales, not how and kind of how I sold. And because we would do them presentations, and somebody from the company like, oh yeah, well this company we started in this year, we got this year's of experience. He's like, nobody gives a crap.
Right.
Nobody cares about your features and benefits. Like I do pumps. Nobody so does my competitor.
Can you move one thing from another thing at this rate?
The pumps are the same. A lot of the pumps we have are the same as our competitors.
Yeah.
They're just painted different. So no, and they're already using it. You're not unless you're bringing something new to the market that they don't know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's like, and so he got it like, man, you need to go in there and get these guys talking.
Yeah.
Use their words against them.
And don't pitch, slap them.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, use their words against them. Like, get them talking early. He had us, dude, one of the crazy things, and I still ask people, I'm like, hey, if you could sprinkle some magic fairy dust on what you're currently doing with X and make it better, what would you do? Man, if I could, I would do this. Okay, well, hey, our company, this is what we do. Boom, boom, this could help you here. This is how we can show you some value. It's all about value add.
Right.
And dude, I'm telling you, like, it's just something that you knew it, but you never thought about it. And it's so easy. He's like, hey, do this stuff. If it doesn't work, call me. And I'll buy you a Coke. If it don't work, call me. I'll buy you a Coke. And so I had a sales presentation like 2 days later for a plant. Scratched it, redid it this way. And like the plant manager said, man, I see value. I mean, dude, he said a buzzword that we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Like a big dog. And me and my buddy, we like looked at a couple of schoolgirls laughing. I was like, holy crap. Like, and I emailed the guy. He's like, oh, man, he was in like Buenos Aires doing a sales training. And emailed him. He's like, I told you. I'm like, holy cow, dude. Like, it's just.
It works.
Yeah. I got the book still. Like, I'm like, dude, it was so cool because what you don't want to be is a nerdy sales guy. You know that.
Right.
In any facet of selling.
If you're trying to sell in, they're not going to buy.
No, dude, you can't be that guy.
Nope.
You see it and you hate it. And I love selling against those guys because I'm going to be the cool dude that they want to do business with, not the little nerdy guy that's reading out of a pamphlet of what to do.
I tell my sales team all the time how we got to this from drinking is incredible. What I tell my salespeople all the time, we do the exact same thing somebody else does.
Yeah.
What's the difference? The difference is them.
Yeah.
It's the salesperson. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And that's a big part of me about answering my phone and doing things. The biggest compliment I'll get from customers is like, dude, hey, I know if I need something, I'm going to call Dale and he's going to get it done in one phone call.
Yeah.
He's never going to tell me no. He's going to tell me, if I call him, he's going to say, man, I don't know, or yes. I never tell anybody no the first time, unless I know it's something far-fetched. I'll be like, man, I don't do that, but let me see if I can help you out if you need me to.
Yeah.
Because they know. I had somebody tell the owner of my company that at a hunting trip one time. They're like, man, I know I can call Dale, and he's not going to tell me no. He's going to say, give me a second. Or he's going to say yes, or he's going to, hey, let me figure something out. And he'll call me back with a solution, or he's going to say, I can't do it, but this person can, or I got another idea. And that's the best compliment you can get as a salesperson.
Yeah,
because you want to be that one-stop shop. You don't want them to call your 800 number or whatever. You want to be the man.
Yeah,
that's just the ego part of being in sales.
Pumps on Pluto.
Pumps and hose, baby.
Pumps and hose.
So so that's why Vaughn stopped drinking.
Yeah. So Todd, Todd. I mean, you just got a sales lesson. So listen, here's the thing. Coming from somebody who doesn't drink anymore, it is so easy to drink. It is so easy to get into the trap. It's so easy to hang out with people that do it. It's fun. I get it.
You can get alcohol delivered to your house now.
Yes. I mean, there's many, many, many things in the world that are fun about drinking. But I can tell you, if your life is worse if you stop drinking, then, I mean, it won't be. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. I don't think that would be somebody's, except for Bert Kreischer.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, there's always one. But yeah, hey, there's never a time. And obviously, if you're asking on how to give up alcohol, you're struggling with it. Due to what I tell you.
Did you just cold turkey it?
Yeah, I'm cold turkey.
Wow.
I remember the exact time. I remember the exact day. I remember where I was. I remember what seat I was, and I remember who was with me. And I started getting really panicky. It was at 2:34 a.m. on January 2nd. Lindsay was sitting to my right. My buddy Josh was sitting across from me. And I remember saying, I know what's going to fix this, and I'm going to stop drinking. And I have literally not touched any alcohol.
Like I said, I didn't know you drinking.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was around the same time that we met and became friends, or you were like just phasing it out, or just around that time.
Yeah.
And then when we hit it off and became good friends, you were already done drinking.
Yeah. And I was one of the best drunk people ever, because nobody could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be hammered, And nobody could tell because I spoke the same. I said the same jokes. I mean, yeah, they were a little bit worse, but nobody could tell that I was like hammered. I never made a fool of myself.
Me, when I get drunk,
you're a rage monster.
I just get wild,
dude.
I get more fun.
You go full Louisiana when you're drunk.
I get more fun, but and I don't regret anything I do because I am still. The biggest thing I could say is in anything I do in work, drinking, partying is my awareness, my social awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very aware of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Even when I act like I'm not, it's more of an act too. You kind of amp it up.
Yeah.
But I'm very aware. Like that's one thing I'm very self-conscious about is awareness.
Yeah.
And you got to know your audience. You got to know,
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that plays into that.
When you get drunk, you act drunker, you amp it up.
Yeah.
And I think that probably has a good balance because if you look back at people who actually are too drunk, what does every too drunk person tell you? Oh, I didn't drink that much. And I'm like, oh, other than you, you've crapped your pants. You are literally walking on one leg and you're speaking in cursive.
Yeah.
You didn't drink too much.
Yeah, dude, and I would do that. We would go out sometimes, over the last few years, and I would just get like a Topo Chico or club soda and lime.
Yeah.
To where you know how it is. I get tired. Like if I don't want to drink, I'm not going to be peer pressure. I'm 39 years old. I
Right.
can care less what you say or whatever.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a drink? I don't want to drink. I don't care to drink that much. So you do that, it just saves a lot of extra BS.
Yeah.
And I have no problems with that, doing that in the bar.
Right.
And so, because I really don't care what people think, but
I drink, obviously we're with customers all the time. I drink Topo, Chico, and lime, and nobody says anything.
it just saves
It saves the conversation.
I know. And them thinking you're being a weirdo because you're not drinking.
And then they want to say, oh, so why'd you stop drinking? Honestly, I don't have a fun story. Like some people, they're like, oh, well, I found God. I didn't do any of that. I just stopped drinking.
Yeah.
Like there's no fun story behind it. And sometimes I throw them off. Like it's somebody I'll never see. They'll say, why'd you stop drinking? I'll be like, oh, it's a tough story. I'm in witness protection. I can't really tell you.
I should be out here.
Yeah. There's nobody here with guns, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't have a cool story to tell you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I feel better. I look better. I'm much more focused on work and business and podcasting. I'm a better husband, better father. That's what drinking did for me. You think you're having fun,
Yeah.
but you're missing the things you don't realize.
Yeah, and you're hurting people that you don't think you're hurting.
It's easy for somebody to call you on a Monday night and say, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch football?" And you have two positives. Oh, I can drink and watch football. And then you leave, and then you're not home with your family, and then you just miss things. Like I've missed 15 minutes of one of my son's baseball game because I was playing golf and drinking.
Yeah.
Like that's 15 minutes I never get back.
Well, I've always had.
He struck out. Thankfully,
we'll wrap this up here.
Dale's getting impatient.
No, I've always had a big I'm real big on work-life balance.
Yeah,
drinking's not a priority in my life. Never has it been. Never will it be.
Yeah.
I like to work. And I like to get done my work, and I like to have my time with my family.
Yeah.
And I like to be home. I like to be home and see my family, my wife. It's just how I've always been. I wasn't that sales guy that did happy hours and late night drinking stuff. I just didn't do that.
Yeah.
I kicked those guys' butts because I worked during the day, and they know they could call me. They took care of me. I wasn't the little entertainment guy. I was the guy that they would call when shit hit the fan, that it was taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that because I just didn't. There's a lot of guys that do that. And more power to them. That's just not me.
Yeah.
Never was me. I wanted to be home. I didn't like being away from Crystal and the kids. So, like I said, I like that balance.
Yeah.
And drinking's never been like my parents didn't drink. My mom, I think she's had one sip of alcohol in her whole life. My dad, he don't drink. He'd have a 6-pack in his icebox that lasts a year.
Oh.
So I never seen it growing up either.
Yeah.
So, that's a big part of it. Your environment, you see,
Yeah.
that's a big part of it too. And I just, I didn't think it was the devil, but it's just something that I had just as much fun without it as I did with it. So it's been an hour and 34 minutes, dude.
Dude, I knew that was going to get deep. You were talking 20 questions, 25 questions, I think, at one time, weren't you?
You really opened me up, man. I talked about more stuff than...
We did 10 questions.
Yeah, but they were good questions.
They were.
This is not your typical podcast that we do, but I think this was a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, here on the Dale Not Dale podcast, we found out Dale has feelings.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Danielle and them are going to like to hear this one.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Because I'm not a big feelings guy.
Dude,
but
we've gotten to the next step in our relationship. I really appreciate you.
You're about to pin me.
I really appreciate you sharing your feelings.
I know. Well, you know what? This is an easy, comfortable way to talk about stuff and get it out there. And it's, hey, if it helps people out, good. If not, it's just, it's probably healthy for us to talk and for me to get stuff out. And there's still a lot that you put on guard. But there's a lot of stuff that, man, I've never really spoke about with anybody.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's just how I was raised and how I've always been,
Yeah. And no better time to do it when about 10,000 people are going to know about it.
Yeah. I'm not worried. I think this was a relevant, good episode to do. We appreciate everybody that wrote in questions, and I hope you listened to it to hear it.
Yeah.
We didn't say your last name for your sake.
Of course.
But if you want us to, we can. But no, other than that, man, it's been fun, dude. Hour and 35 minutes.
Dude, it's been a good one. I knew it was going to be a good one.
We had a few tangents, too.
We did. We went way off. I mean, we went alcoholism or alcohol to sales, and then somehow brought it back to alcohol. And those, they really don't mix.
I mean, they do. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
But no, man, this was good. Yeah, I think some people will learn some things about me. Maybe my family members will listen to this and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope Chris won't mind. I'll talk about me and her, but it's all good.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all writing in for sure. Keep it coming. Ask questions.
Yeah, if y'all like this, I mean, we're open to doing this more. I don't know, man.
I want to do live callers.
We will do live callers.
Okay, we're gonna. This
week. Set up a Google number.
I knew you were gonna task me with it. Yeah, your delegation only works to people that work for you. I don't work for you. I work with you. So I will put a list together of things you're gonna do and of things I'm gonna do, and it'll be halvesies.
Okay, just put the Google one on your side.
Okay, all right, and I will put everything else on your side.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh man, well, good, dude. That was fun.
Yes, it was. It's awesome. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
Yep. I hope y'all stayed to the end to listen to everything. And if you did, you're entered for a drawing to win some money from Vaughn.
Yep.
So I'm glad you stuck around.
Absolutely. Yep.
But other than that, man, we'll kick it to the music and get out of here.
See ya.